If you want to stay in the same situation, then continue doing what you're doing.
You guys can get on board and go down this 4-lane highway and just rock it out, and you don't have to have a decade of learning process.
Meet people where they are. If you want to have all types of clients, be a Rubik's Cube. Meet them where they want to be met.
We have to know our numbers. We have to know how much we want, and then how many deals do I have to close to make that a reality?
What I want to do over the next half hour or so is give you clarity on the items that really are going to generate money for you and allow you to do things you want to do.
So if you're not currently being coached by the people in the industry that are doing it at the highest level, then you're working too hard to get there.
This is the Next Level Loan Officers Podcast with Kenneth Travis and Sean Zalmanoff.
Hello, everybody. Sean Zalmanoff here with this edition of our Next Level Loan Officers Podcast. We have a special guest today, but before I tell you about our special guest, let me tell you about something special that we have for you. If you would like a trial of our Mortgage Success Academy for $1 today, you can try it for the next 7 days. Go to $1msa.com and it's all access for you. Also, if we're providing some value to you, man, we would love for you to go give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast medium. Do that, write a little review, and we're actually going to read a few of these in the next few weeks, and we're going to give away some money or prizes or something to the review that says the nicest thing about me, not Kenneth. So make sure you talk nice about me. Without further ado, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Jason Frazier, host of Mortgage X Podcast, host of 7 other podcasts, member of 27 different organizations. But, man, the thing you need to know about Jason, Jason is an industry leader. And the reason he's an industry leader is because, there's just few people who care about our industry. It's why we work with Jason inside and Next Level. He helps us with quite a few things that if you don't know. But, man, it's we want to move the needle for the originator. We care about you. Man, I want to make sure that we have an industry here in 10 years from now that's not dominated by one of those other companies that crushes it in fintech. We want to crush them, and that's why we're here. Jason, I know I missed at least 17 things you do, but say hello to the world.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Sean, thanks for having me. Excited and I love doing interviews, and especially about today's topic, I think is really important for originators. And I couldn't agree with you more, man. I mean, and thank you for that kind intro. But I have a passion for this industry. It's in my blood. It's a legacy for me. And so putting all of you in the best position to succeed and to win locally and long-term is my mission.
It is a legacy, man. I know your mom's in the industry. Was your grandmother in the industry too?
No, I had a lot of family within that worked in mortgage, that worked in real estate, but it all comes from my mom, and she's currently the president and CEO of Mason McDuffie Mortgage. She was one of the first women CEOs and partners of a mortgage company in the United States in the late 70s. So I was born into it, literally. I tell the story all the time. I was on a baby carrier on her desk 3 days after I was born, in the mortgage company at Mason McDuffie. So yeah, it's a legacy for me, and it's something that I take very, very seriously.
So today we're going to talk about marketing in today's world. Not only do we need to keep up with marketing in 2020, but man, there's a few things going on in our world that we're all dealing with right now. And, Jason and I talk about this. The rest of the guys in Next Level, Shane and Kellen and KT and I talk about this. And we are so fortunate, to be in the industry that we're in right now. The economy is suffering. There's a lot of people we know that are suffering. And I see some of the busiest lunch restaurants in St. Louis that are on TV right now that, they don't know how they're going to make it right now because of the times, because there aren't people in them. And gosh, we're busier than really we've ever been, and have the opportunity to help more people. And what Jason wanted to come on and share with us today is, Jason, you have people that are reaching out to you how do I market today? How do I market in 2020? Yep. But how do I market in this COVID-19 market that we're in right now?
Yeah. And so, but obviously by the time you guys are listening to this podcast, we're hoping, it's a lot better than it is as we're recording it out there. But one of the questions multiple questions I'm getting, I'll just cover right now. One is, should I be doing any marketing at all? what kind of messaging should I be putting out there? Should I be still running Facebook ads, Google ads? Should I still be doing the marketing that I'm doing? And the question is yes. And, one of those things, and I know it's something that, is talked about in Next Level quite a bit, is when someone's going one way, go the other way, right? Where it makes sense, right? Just being different doesn't always matter if it's the wrong being different, but it's the right messaging at the right time. And honestly, right now, to me, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a marketer, I'm saying this because there really is a tremendous opportunity here by doing the right thing. And that's one thing I want to make really clear. This isn't like, hey, how to use this to your advantage and how to use a crisis. But again, and something I've always said is that there's nothing wrong with getting business, making money when you're doing the right thing. And right now there's such a void in our industry for doing the right type of marketing, to not being tone deaf with that. So the first advice I'm giving everyone, and even like I said, when you're listening to this is going to be something that we're going to need to be doing for months, right? We don't know when the end is going to hit on this thing. And so we're going to have to adapt and overcome, what we're dealing with. But the first thing I want to tell you right now is turn off your automated marketing. If you have automated, or at least audit it to make sure it's not going to come off the wrong way. But don't just whatever you guys were planning a month ago, or even just a few weeks ago, and a month before that, if you started, January, and you're like, all right, cool, here's my content plan. In January, that might have been fantastic, but today it's going to come off. And I've already seen some things. I've already seen some blowback on social media and Twitter doing some of these stuff. Right now is the best time to buy a house. If you guys are putting that stuff out there, that is just wrong. Now is the best time to plan. And that's what I'm going to talk about, is just really how do you change your messaging? What do you talk about? What should be the focus of what you're putting out there in the community? And really it comes down to this, is look, with everything going on, now is the time for experts. Now is the time for leadership, and now is the time for advisors. Something that I could tell you, just being part of Next Level, just for these last couple months, is something that is preached. And this is the time. Everyone, where you've heard Sean or KT or Shane or Kellen talk about this, now is the time to be an advisor and plan and strategize, because look, there's going to be great opportunity for homeowners one way or another coming out of this as well. And so you need to start planning and strategizing now with them, as opposed to okay, let's get you locked in. Let's do that now. Now in some cases that may make sense. In some cases, it may be a good time for that person's certain situation to buy right now or sell right now. But that's the thing, is have these conversations. Don't sell, have conversations, because the cool thing is that when you're doing this, you're actually just really building a good prospect pool. Hopefully utilizing your CRM, taking notes, and classifying these segments of borrowers that you're talking to. And when you're doing that, when it does come time, when rates do come out of this, we do have kind of a pathway out, and where we're seeing where things are going to go. You could be the one that's saying, look, we talked about this a month ago, and now I think in another month we might be getting ready to fulfill your goals, fulfill what you're trying to get out of this stuff. And there's not enough of that going around. And so that's why I've been talking about, hey, get out of that. Now's the best time to buy, even with rates being it is, but we don't know what's gonna happen, from the lender side, because I work on the lender side, right? We don't, VOEs, appraisals, home inspections, everything is being affected by that. The crunch of liquidity, we saw non-QM just get decimated within a week.
Evaporate in a day.
It's gone. It's done. And then, we're seeing effects on jumbo. We're seeing effects on not being able to lock until, some companies are putting out lock requirements to actually after a full loan approval. So there's a lot of things going on right now. So that is why this time, and this cream rises to the top, and we've all been talking about it for months, because, months and even years, because it hasn't, I'm not saying, and I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, I'm not saying it hasn't been hard to be an originator. This business is very difficult. It can be very frustrating and stressful dealing with all the different moving parts. But getting business with low rates and all that stuff, it's a lot easier. Now is the time where people separate themselves from someone that's just pushing buttons, taking orders, to someone that's actually going to advise these clients. And that's your opportunity, and switching up your messages to coincide with that.
Yeah, Jason, now is the time is so important. I got to make sure that I go make sure the next 7 days of this is the best day ever to buy a house. That doesn't go on my CRM.
Yep.
No, just kidding. But no, really, guys, you got to make sure, if your city had some lockdown orders or suggesting to stay at home, suggesting people go out is going to, most people forget. I've sent, my CRM's messed up before in the past, and I've sent Merry Christmas in July or Happy New Year in February, and you actually get great responses. And there's, of course, somebody it offends, but like they're more laughing at me, which is good because then they respond to me. But don't in times like this, we don't want to be saying something so contradictory, because you will get blasted. You could lose a client for life. But as we talk about, now is the time. We control the message. We control the message of people that work with us. We control the message in our marketing. And now is not the time to get in a pissing match that I'm seeing you all do on Facebook of bankers are better or brokers are better. Whichever one's better for you is right. That's where you should be. And whether you talk to bankers or brokers or people, go talk to Anthony Casa. He's a really good dude. And he'll tell you, man, he might go to him saying, I want to open a broker shop. And you're like, man, dude, actually, based on your situation, you should stay in the mortgage banking world. He tells people that every day. So it's not a one size fits all on this. What we need to do when controlling this message, and Jason, you're preaching it, we're preaching it. When you're talking about that advisor role, people are going to remember that they remember how you treated them always, but they're going to remember most of how you treated them when times were tough. That's the measure of a man. That's the measure of a person, of a woman, of any of us in our industry right now. And that's what's going to matter 3 years from now, when this is all a distant memory and they see somebody spending $4 billion in Super Bowl ads. Man, I could get my mortgage there, but you know what? During that, when all that stuff was going on, man, dude, Sean saved me 0.5 point in interest because he floated my rate, man. And he was able to actually get my loan done without an appraisal when the other company said I needed to get an appraisal done. And man, everything was able to work out. When the business I work at was paying me, but they were shut down. Dude, he had me get the CEO of the company on the phone so they could do the verbal verification. Dude, man, there was no way I'm not going to use anybody except him for my mortgage. And you can all be that person right now, but you got to tell the story to your people why it's important to have somebody like you in controlling that medium and controlling that message. So what are some other ideas that you have just as far as the messaging that you're getting out, what you're telling people in all your groups, Jason?
Yeah, and it's something that I talk about quite a bit, but now it's more important than ever, and that's interest-based content. And that's really focusing on the content based off of the current situation of your audience. Now, that could vary widely depending on what market you are in and everything else generally. But now everyone, given the givens, everyone is pretty much in the same boat, right? Now, some industries, some people are dealing with it. If they happen to be in the restaurant business or the event space, they're dealing with way more difficult times than someone that's maybe in the grocery side, because there's plenty of business, right? Or even on the mortgage side, depending on some of them, but for the most part, we're still doing what we're doing. And so for what I've been telling real estate agents and loan officers as far as content is, focus on your community, focus on the knowledge that people are looking for, and also understand their current situation. The current situation is they're probably working at home. More than likely, they're working at home. Maybe they've never worked at home before. I could guarantee you, we homeschool our kids, so we're kind of used to it, but maybe they've never had their kids at home while they're working at home.
Jason,
maybe
I'm sorry, I got to stop. Can you help? Can you homeschool mine right now too? Because
no. No. We're not. I wouldn't say we're, and it's not me. I wouldn't say we. It's my wife who's awesome and amazing that does that stuff. I couldn't do it, but she's smarter than me anyway. But when it comes down to it, focus on. Look, there's a million parents out there right now that are trying to figure out because some schools have online, but some schools don't, right? And so some schools are just, the kids aren't. There's no learning at all. So maybe look at apps and things that they could do to learn, virtual tours of museums, because a lot of people are trying to do that just to create interest and give something people to do at home. So look into those things and what kind of information can you give out. Hey, are you now homeschool parents? here's a great lesson plan. Go on some homeschool groups and say, like, what are you guys doing normally? Get that information and deliver that out. Also talk about, like, hey, here's some tips for working at home if you never, or trying to create a nice little office space, or the headset to get if you're doing a lot of virtual conferences, right? Or the keyboard or mouse, whatever it happens to be. And take it your own personal situation, right? Now, I know in our business, we have a lot of people that already have offices, here, at CF Wholesale, like, we're a distributed workforce, so it's not, we can work anywhere, right? As long as there's an internet connection. But I know a lot of loan officers and real estate agents, their mobile office is their car, right? Like, that's kind of how we roll. So you kind of take your own lessons and your own experiences and use them for content, but really focus on the situations of your audience. What content are they going to even care about? It's not going to be about home stuff. It's not going to be about real estate stuff right now. It's going to be about, like, okay, my situation is, how do I keep my kids occupied, or what apps can they do with friends, or what's safe, or how to use Facebook Messenger for kids, or again, I mentioned the museum tours, or hey, what grocery stores have special hours for those that are high risk or elderly, right? Like, what are those and here's a list of the stores. Here's a list of the restaurants that are doing dine-in. Here's curbside, right? That's data. Look, and that's everywhere, but no one's consolidating it, right? So if you're in your market, you could get all this information from blogs. It's free. It's over there. Just copy and paste. Remember to link back to that article where you got the information, because you never want to just plagiarize and whatever. And you always want to give credit where credit is due, but consolidate the information in a blog post or your newsletter. I'd say right now, email open rates are up, right? App usage is up. Direct mail is something that everyone's at home, right? Like, so look at the opportunities, look at the current situation, but create content that isn't about selling. It's about information, education, and value. I'm begging you guys, do that, because that is what's going to stand out. Because guess what? If you're the newsletter that everyone's listening to right now because you're consolidating all this information, you're giving value, guess what? They're not going to just unsubscribe, because they're going to remember that you offered value. So then continue on with the newsletter after we get out of this, and then throw a banner in there about mortgage rates, or a story of you just helped a VA borrower, or a story that you just saved a loan from another one and this person was be out, or tell stories of people that are currently dealing with mortgage situations when we come out of this, because there's going to be a lot of that. It's like, look, some people were about to lose their house. I was able to help them. I was helping them advice. Hey, this person unfortunately lost their house, but here's a story and what you can learn from if you happen to be in the same predicament, right? So that's the type of content you need to be putting out there, is stuff that everyone's going to be dealing with, especially, people that are furloughed, layoffs. This is the time to double down on that community content. Again, as we call it, the 3 L's, what they, what consumers like, what they love, and where they live, is to double down on this content, because this is what they're searching for anyway. Don't go against the grain on what they're looking for, because guess what? There's going to be too many loan officers and real estate agents that are still putting out stuff, still talking about open houses, still talking about all these things, and then just regurgitating the same stuff. Go the opposite way. Invest in your community, be a voice for your community, be a leader in your community, and I guarantee you will have a great prospect pool coming out of this, right? And like I said, there's nothing wrong with creating that by doing the right thing.
The first of the month's coming up. I'm wondering how many emails I'm going to get from agents of all the events that are going on in the neighborhood the next month.
Yeah.
Man, Jason, you just gave us two good acronyms to go off of. So, guys, you got IEV, information, education, and value. That's what the content that you're putting out needs to be about. And then, you got the 3 L's, what they like, what they love, and where they live. And man, you just can't replace being there. And people are consuming content now at a clip that, like, we may never see again. Either that or the whole world change. I mean, like, we're not going out. We're not going on dates. There's not a movie theater to go to right now. And when we come back out of this, it'll be like there's going to be a lot of pent-up demand, but certain cities are going to get opened up sooner than others, just based upon the natural cycle of what's going on right here. So be there. Be there for them now, so they'll consume you later.
No, totally true. And just even taking it a little bit farther is, what are you doing, right? Like, share your story, right? If you haven't got into Instagram stories or Facebook stories, try that. Do a journal. Look, this is going to be a time that's going to be looked upon, right? Just like when people like to, go back and talk about what they did in the financial crisis and before. Like, this is one of those times. This is something that's never happened before at like this, like what we're dealing with right now in a global world, a globally connected world. I'm not saying we haven't had pandemics before, but this is different because of the connectivity of everyone in the world, right? And social media and internet and everything else. This is something that's going to be looked upon. So you kind of decide like how you want to be, part of that story, right? And talk about it. And because you may inspire somebody, right? There's going to be a lot of, again, like, I don't want to take this into a negative, like a downer one, but like, there's people that are really struggling and trying to figure out what their next move is. So be someone that, is inspired. Talk about maybe if you went through that. I know I've done a ton of interviews with people that were, hey, I'm $20 away from having zero money to my name, but then I built this great business, right? Like, so there's a lot of stories out there. So maybe even even if it's not your own, share other, be the positive voice now, share, and then also try to create some commonality, right? Like, say, hey, this is my family's Netflix playlist for the next week, right? And so maybe you could find some good gems out of there or whatever, right? Like, or say, hey, here's, like, for those of you that haven't cut the cord or just cut the cord, like, here's Sling TV, here's Hulu TV, here's YouTube TV. Like, these are the different ones. This is what I found better. Create some commonality, do some information, the content that at the end of the day, all you care about is, from a loan officer's perspective, all you should care about is that you're getting their attention and they're consuming your content. That's all you care about, because once you have that at scale, then adding and putting in a little bit of what you do as a loan officer with that, or teaming up with an agent, giving some information there, then that's how businesses are made. It's no different now, but now it's just even greater, right? You're right there, Sean?
Yeah, doing great.
Bless you.
Thank you. Fortunately, there's a mute button on the mic.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, thank you for your time today. And what's your favorite way? Is it Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn? How do you like people to reach out and find you?
So I think the best. So you can find me anywhere. Instagram. I am most active on Facebook. LinkedIn probably being second. I have Instagram. I have Twitter. If you tag me or message me on there, I'll respond. I have the mastermind group, which is the Mortgage X Mastermind. That's where I'm doing just a lot of free content interviews for people and stuff. So the Mortgage X Mastermind on Facebook is a place. But Facebook would probably be where I'm most active the most. And if you just Jason Frazier, you'll find me.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you joining us today.
No, absolutely. It's great. It's great to talk about this stuff. And like I said in the beginning, and it's not just because I'm on the podcast, but this is where groups like Next Level and anyone that's part of the Next Level that's been in the masterminds, been at the events, listen to some of the podcasts. This is why this group is successful. And this is why it's important, because there's a ton of people out there. There's a ton of talking heads out there, but you're dealing with people that are in the trenches dealing with this, are practitioners, had failures, had successes, learned from it. And it's about helping you not just like get through the next month, but it's about creating legacy business for yourself.
Hey, we are going to be somewhere soon. And in order to find out where that soon's going to be, go to loanofficerevents.com. Come hang out with us. Invest a few days of your time. We promise to deliver more value than we take in payment for y'all. And we also got an app. You can text the words Next Level to 36260. You can get this podcast. You can get many other podcasts and just a ton of information that we have for you for free. And we appreciate you joining us, Jason. I appreciate you joining us. Friends, stay cool and stay awesome. And most importantly, stay calm. Go be a leader in your market.